Yes, most people are afraid of darkness. Of course, now they leave the lights on all night in most cities. But in the Bible, the darkness isn't really darkness so much as an excessive light.
For
so
darkness,
that you can't see because it's too bright.
Mm-hmm.
Till your eyes can adjust to the mysteries. It feels like the deepest night, but it really isn't.
Psalm 139.
Which says?
Darkness is not dark for you.
Exactly.
Darkness and light are the same to you, and so on.
So the Bible is so full of that image, like Moses is cloud by night,
Mm-hmm.
and the caves are the symbol of desert or solitude.
Elijah coming to Mount Horeb.
Yes, you like that piece.
I like that a lot.
What do you get out of that?
Well, first of all, when you hear that there is a sense of manifestation, because if you go to Sinai and the revelation at Sinai, boom, boom, boom,
Yes.
Lightning and thunder, and,
Right.
and the manifestation comes this way. Later on, we read about Elijah when he has to flee from Ahab and Jezebel, and he makes his way to Mount Horeb, and there is a storm, the lightning, the fire, and God is in neither of them. And then we hear about the Kol, the Mamadaka, the small, still voice, which gets translated, I think, better into the subtle sound of stillness.
That's beautiful translation. I'm very fond of that passage. In one translation, it's called the sound of sheer silence.
Mm-hmm.
So what kind of a sound is that? So it suggests that the divine presence is on a different spectrum of sound, or a different set of images.
Yeah, so it's over here, for instance, they're recording us at this point.
Yeah.
If I were to whisper, they would have to raise and amplify it.
Yes.
And if it gets very silent, then the amplification has to be even more. And that's the place where one can hear that voice, with that great amplification of receptivity.
The idea of sheer silence, I sometimes ask myself, why did God pass by as sheer silence, or as the sound of sheer silence? And I was thinking maybe because he went by so fast. God is very active, wouldn't you say? With one of the
sometimes a bit too fast for me. I
yes,
think,
he goes by so fast you think he isn't going by at all.
Well,
but that's our we don't have the apparatus in our nature to reach God through the senses.
We can't figure God's time anyway. If 1,000 years are just like a day, you know? And on the other hand, in 1 second, there could be worlds without end.
Yes. Yeah, I love some of this new discoveries about trillionth of a second that they date the Big Bang from. They're counting back through computerized methods to the first moment of anything, that is to say, the density of the material that eventually became the stuff of the whole universe, and the time that they configure is a trillionth of a trillionth of a second. They haven't gotten any farther back than that. But I suggest, how can you conceive or imagine a trillionth of a second? It doesn't mean anything. Our mind can't get around it. So it's at this point that eternity and time seem to melt into each other and become something beyond both, a kind of mystery of reality that has no meaning in the sense of a practical meaning.
Whenever the mind can't grasp something, it just is baffled. And the mystery doesn't come until after the bafflement.
Yes.
So when you say a trillionth of a second and you try and figure out what's it like, what's it like? And that is sort of a can opener, like a koan in Zen.
Yes, exactly. A can opener puts it very well. It also works in the other end of the spectrum where space gets bigger and bigger and farther away, so that now they say the galaxies pushed aside by, I guess, dark matter they've only recently discovered, are going away so fast that in another few years you'll never be able to see them anymore because the light will not be able to
the speed
return.
of light won't be able to be as fast as overcome the distance that it's going.
So my question about the universe is, what was there before the galaxies arrived?
So we have this wonderful hymn, Adon Olam Asher Malach B'Terem Kol Yetzir Nivra. God is king before the Big Bang.
Yes.
That's God's past.
Yes.
Then it says, after everything is going to be finished, so after the last black hole, he will be king again. That's God's future. Le'et na'asa b'chefzo kol, from the time of the Big Bang to the last black hole, that's God's present. So you go with that for a while and you sink into it and you go out of your human story into a bigger one.
That's right.
But it's wonderful because when we stretch our mind this way, the mind can't help but get out of the way and let the soul know. And then comes the big problem about how does the soul explain it to the mind.
The only further observation that arises from that is that we mustn't just leave the mystery of God in the hands of science. It's a marvelous revelation of God,